Breaking news here to CBS Sports HQ in fantasy football today. Washington football team quarterback Ryan Fitzpatrick did suffer a hip subluxation, according to the MRI, according to the NFL Network, and he's going to be placed on injured reserve. There is no indication yet if it is season ending, according to the NFL Network, but he's going to miss at least the next 3 games as the Washington football team tries to figure out the extent of Fitzpatrick's injury. So we told you at the top of the show that Taylor Heinicke expected to start week 2 Thursday night against the New York Giants. Now we know he's going to start for the foreseeable future. We asked Pete Prisco, our senior NFL writer, if there's any chance of Cam Newton maybe coming to the Washington football team. He said probably no as of now. But again, if this is a season-ending injury and Taylor Heinicke does struggle, we could see maybe Cam Newton getting a call from his former coach in Ron Rivera. So, Heath, from the Washington football team perspective now, knowing Taylor Heinicke is their guy, how does this change things for this offense?
It really makes things hard on Terry McLaurin. He has his future star in this league. We thought it was going to happen this year because Ryan Fitzpatrick was going to be the best quarterback he'd ever played with. Now he's kind of going to be in a situation he's been for most of his career. He's a number 2 fantasy wide receiver. I think you have to see this team lean more on the run now. Heinicke is a more mobile quarterback, should open things up a little bit more for Antonio Gibson.
They get a chance to start at the end of the season when Alex Smith was out, got a chance to start in their playoff game against Tampa Bay last season, Chris. And like Keith said, Heinicke's going to move a little bit, probably a little bit more than Fitzpatrick, but I don't know if there's the same trust factor in him as a passer. We'll see. Clearly, they didn't trust him to be the starter when they went out and got Ryan Fitzpatrick. So McLaurin, number 2 wide receiver, like Heath said, from a fantasy perspective. What does this mean, though, for the running backs? Antonio Gibson, J.D. McKissick. Does this help their value, hurt their value? No change at all? How are you approaching it?
That's hard to say. Generally speaking, you would expect a more mobile quarterback to throw to the running backs less. But, in a situation like this where a team may not trust their quarterback as much, you also might see them rely on someone like J.D. McKissick a little more. We didn't really get a sense for, exactly how they're going to use the 2 of them in week 1 just because, I think they played 10 third down snaps. J.D. McKissick was on for 6 of them. Gibson was on for 4. I could see, them leaning a little more towards McKissick in those situations, which would hurt Gibson. But what we've seen since the preseason and in week 1 was, even though Gibson wasn't playing on third down, they were scheming up targets for him in the early downs. So as long as they keep doing that, they like him as a playmaker. They view him as a, potential home run threat every time he touches the ball. As long as they keep scheming up those kind of touches for him, I think it could be a situation that ends up working out for him because, like you said, probably going to see more rushing attempts.
We'll find out. And Logan Thomas still a must-start tight end because, as Heath will always tell you, he's a tight end and hopefully has still some upside. So did score a touchdown from Heinicke in that game against the Chargers in week number 1. Just in case, in 2 quarterback leagues, super flex leagues, some quarterbacks you could be looking at. Here's a list of replacement options that could help you in some deeper leagues. Taylor Heinicke obviously would be one of those guys now. Tyrod Taylor, he's widely available, going to start for the foreseeable future for the Houston Texans. Zach Wilson, Carson Wentz coming off. These guys all scored 20 or more fantasy points, so buy into them if you will. But we know you could be a little bit of a desperate situation. Probably Tyrod Taylor, Taylor Heinicke, the ones that are going to be widely available in Superflex and 2 quarterback leagues. So again, the breaking news here to CBS Sports HQ, fantasy football today, is that Ryan Fitzpatrick going on injured reserve. Injury, according to the NFL Network, not considered season-ending yet, but they're going to wait to see what the MRI shows them. They are going to be without Ryan Fitzpatrick for at least the next 3 games.
Want a sports network that delivers everything that matters about the game? The highlights, the picks, the instant analysis. No yelling, no fake debates, no politics. Hit the subscribe button and never miss a moment.